Hello everyone, this is Rainey Bastarash with Online Income Partners, and tonight we are working on Lesson 4. Now, just as a review of what we did last week, we spoke about giveaway products or the free content. We spoke about autoresponders. We actually touched on it a little bit because we'll be doing a lot on that tonight. We spoke about the required pages to market your product, all the different pages from the capture pages and the sales pages and all this kind of thing. We spoke about security, whether you should have security or not on your page, again, depending on which way you want to go. We spoke about content, the actual product page that people will be purchasing your membership site to learn from. And we touched a little bit on payment processing, which we'll be speaking about a lot tonight. About video hosting, whether you're going to use YouTube or another site to host videos unless you're going to make it an audio program. We spoke about the pages should be, how your pages should be built. We didn't speak about that, but I'm telling you now, your pages at this point in the lesson, if you've been following it week by week and you want to get this done in an 8-week process, your actual product should be pretty much put together tonight or by now, and what we're going to be working on tonight is actually connecting all the different lessons and putting in the payment buttons. And as for the product itself, you don't have to have all 12 recordings done before you actually get up and sell it, because of course we want you to make money as soon as you can, but hopefully if you are doing recordings with experts, by now you have several recordings done, recorded interviews, so you can at least have a month or two ahead so you can get started with the program. The reason why I say that you should have everything done by tonight is because starting next week, for the next 4 weeks, we are going to be speaking about marketing the product and how to sell it, all the different ways. We have quite a few different methods you can use to market this and begin making money as soon as possible. So what we're going to do this week, we're going to talk about the finishing touches and also the testing, how to test it to make sure it's all working. The PayPal buttons, how to create them, how to install them. We're going to be speaking about autoresponders. And I think I spoke to you when I mentioned the different kinds of autoresponders or different companies you could use last week. For tonight's lesson, and from here on, we're going to be, I use actually the GetResponse, so I'll be speaking about the GetResponse autoresponder. They're very similar to different ones, so by me going through it with them, you'll be able to get ideas of how to do it with your own. Same thing for the payment buttons. I'll be speaking about PayPal rather than ClickBank. PayPal is probably the largest one, and it's the one I've been using, I'm familiar with. So again, that should give you ideas of how to use most of the others as well. We'll be speaking about, with the autoresponders, how to create a campaign, how to create autoresponder letters, and I'll explain more about that, what that is as we go. How to do opt-in pages, and putting all these different elements together, as I mentioned earlier, and then we'll show you how to test. We'll talk about testing the website, the freebies, the delivery pages, and all those fun things. So let's go ahead and get started with the PayPal buttons or the payment buttons. So for those of you that are using PayPal, which will probably be the majority of you, because I know most people already have a PayPal account. It's kind of hard to get around online these days without having an account, an online account of some sort. And PayPal is basically that the individual or the personal program is free, and it's actually a very good program. We've been using it for years and been very satisfied with it. So if you want to go ahead and put together PayPal buttons, what you would do is, as I mentioned last week, and hopefully most of you did it, if you don't have one already, you have created a PayPal business account. So you can upgrade your personal account to a business account. And of course, there's a couple different business accounts that you can use. And so let's go ahead and get going, and I'll show you how to get started with that. This is my basic PayPal business account. When I sign in, or before I sign in, because you see there's no email or password up there, this is what it looks like. Now, we're not doing this live. This is an actual slide. I'm speaking live, but I'm not going to be entering the password or anything because these are actually pictures. Once I did that, we go to this page, and this page here is the main page usually when you come on, and it gives you your basically your table of contents, or your tabs showing you where to go. So once you get on this page, you would click on the Merchant Services tab. And the Merchant Services tab has to do with buttons. There's different ways of getting there, but that's probably the easiest one. Or, let me go ahead and get you a nice little glowing spotlight. If you went down over here, another way, once you've started to build buttons, and if you want to come back and fix them, you can go to My Saved Buttons, and that will bring you to all the buttons that you've created in the past. So rather than starting all over, you can go back and just change the button prices. Or if you're going to be making buttons similar to the ones you've made, go to the My Save Buttons, and then you would click on a button that says Create Similar, and it saves you a lot of time in the long run. But for right now, we'll be dealing right here with the Merchant Services. Okay, if I can get this to go to the next page. From what I see, it doesn't like to work on the red thing, so I'll get back on my cursor. There we go. All right. So on the next page, once you click to Merchant Services, you would actually click on another button rather than showing you every page. It says Create New Button, a new button icon. It'll give you a choice of what you want to do. So you create new button icons. That's what you're doing, is making a new button. And you'll be directed to this page. Now this page here, as you can see up here at the top, it says Step 1, way down the bottom. It's Step 2 and Step 3. These are like when you click on Step 2, you're going to be taken to another whole page, and Step 3 to another whole page again. But let's talk about Step 1. Up here at the top, choose a button type. Okay, when you click on that, basically a drop-down menu, you'll have a lot of different choices to create buttons, and you're going to be actually clicking on the one called Subscriptions. This is if you're making a monthly type product. So you click on Subscriptions, then Item Name, you put down whatever it is you want. If you're going to be having a lot of products in the future, I have a lot of products, so I have to put down exactly what it is. So an item name, this is for me. This has nothing to do with what the client's going to see. For my record keeping, I would put 12-month, let's say if it was a golfing program, because I know one of you is doing a golfing program, 12-month golfing site, if that happens to be what it is. What's the currency you're dealing with in money? USD. So it gives you, again, a drop down with a bunch of different choices. This is what your subscribe button is going to look like on the right. And as you can see underneath, even though it's PayPal, they accept PayPal, MasterCard, Visa, American Express, pretty much everything people are using, they accept now. Underneath that, okay, your billing amount. Each cycle, so what are you going to bill each cycle? So if it's $19.95 a month, that's what you're going to put here. Now, over here, billing cycle, it says months, meaning is it going to be monthly, weekly, annually? So it's going to be every 1 month. So the first month, the second month, that's what that's for. So if you want to bill every quarter, you put down every 3 months. If you want it to bill twice a year, you put down 6 months or weeks or whatever you want. After how many cycles should the billing stop? That's where you put 12. So as you can see here, $19.95 every month for 12 months. And what email address? I probably crossed off personal stuff here, but the email address for your PayPal account associated with the money, that's what goes there. And once you have that, basically what you would do is go to page 3. There's not really much of anything you need on page 2. You can look at it if you want. You can click back and forth on these all you like. So go to page 3. Now what page 3 has is if you need the customer's address, go ahead and click on that. I put yes pretty much all the time. This says no by default. I'll teach you a little trick there in a little while why I'll put yes. Now over here, take customers to this URL when they cancel their checkout. So if somebody started purchasing the product and halfway through the sale they decided they didn't want it and they just canceled it, where do you want them to go? Usually I put down my main page, so they go back to the main page and maybe can start reading again. You don't want to send them to you don't send them to something weird because they're not buying, I should say. Don't send them to Avon or Tupperware or something like that. Send them back to your main page, and maybe they made a mistake, maybe they timed out or something like that, so they can go back to your main page and start all over again. The bottom one, and again, if you want these to show up and when they click on the buttons, or if they don't finish the checkout, you have to click this. So make sure you put the check mark. The second one here, take customers to this URL when they finish the checkout. Now this is important. Remember the different pages you made? Okay, this is going to be on your sales page. So when they purchase it, you want them to go to your thank you page. Your thank you page is where you give instructions on where the product is, the link to the product or emails or your autoresponder. So wherever your thank you page is, which we spoke about last week, put your thank you page, web page, the URL right here. So that way, once they hit pay, that's where they're going to go. And then once you've done that, just hit create button. And what's going to happen is you're going to get this button, what they call the URL, you're going to get the button code down here at the bottom. You can see I have it circled in red. Now, what you would do, you need to have a little bit of knowledge of web building, or if you have a web builder, they can use this. What you're going to do is you're going to copy from where it says form right over here. Matter of fact, let me, just in case you're not able to see that, I'll go back to my nice glowing spot right. See right over here, it says form action. You're going to copy from the ahead of this bracket, and you're going to have to scroll down, and the last word on the bottom of this will also be form. So when it begins form, it ends form. However it begins, it ends. So make sure you get to a closing bracket, like one of these, way at the end of it. So scroll and get every single word, because if you don't, it's not going to work, okay? And if you don't want to scroll down and get every word, just hit this button right here. It says select code. Then everything will be, it'll turn dark blue and it'll all be copied. So you hit select code, copy. Then you go to your web page, wherever it is that you want to put the button in, go into the HTML part and enter it. Now with the new web page, I believe with the HostGator, I think they have an actual button you can hit for inserting a button, and it'll have the code, put the code, and the button automatically comes up. Each different web page builder has a different way of doing it. But this is the code for the button, okay? Oops, it wants me to go back and get rid of that red thing again. There we go. So PayPal buttons are pretty simple. Once you put it on the page, it's up and ready to go. I would test it if I were you, and we'll talk about testing it later. You can test it without having to put money in it. At least click on it to make sure that another box opens up saying, this is the product, it's, here's the price, and, don't go through with your credit card, but at least test it to make sure it's working. Now for autoresponders, we're going to talk about creating campaigns. Like I said earlier today, at the beginning of this, by now you should have chosen an autoresponder. There are many out there. We're going to be using GetResponse.com as an example. Most of them work very similar. If you have a problem putting this together, doing the things that I'm going to be speaking about, contact the help staff wherever they are. Most of these places you can actually call and speak to somebody live. GetResponse you can, and they can guide you right through the process. They're actually very helpful in most of the companies. So we're going to be speaking about creating an opt-in box, or what they call a capture box, where you're going to capture their email address, and all you need is their first name. We're going to be speaking about starting a campaign, and that's supposed to be creating automated emails, and the automation of creating a sales funnel. We spoke a little bit about sales funnels last week. So let's go ahead and talk about these. If you go into GetResponse, once you sign in, put in your name and your email, this is the page you come to, okay? This is basically known as the dashboard. See the dashboard right there? And if you want to come back to this page at any time, you'll see this bar on the top of most every page, and just click on the word dashboard, and you'll come back here showing you all these nice big pictures to know what to do. So to create your, to get started, what you're going to do is you're going to come all the way over here to where it says your current campaign, and you're going to click on this scroll down button. And if you go these are just different campaigns I have, so don't worry about that. These will all be blank for you when you get started. You're going to go all the way down to the bottom where this blue, okay? And so for creating a campaign, what you're going to be doing is just clicking on the word create a campaign. Simple enough. And it will take you here. Create campaign. Isn't that nice? Now this at the top, these are words that I put. You're going to see from create a campaign down. So as it says, simply enter the campaign name you'd like for your records. This is for you, so when you go to different campaigns, you know what each one is. And make sure there's no spaces or capitals in the name. Now what I did is I put it through with spaces just so this error would come up so you would see the ruling, okay? See, I'm saying I did this as a mistake on purpose. Ha, ha, ha. Really, believe me. Okay, now it says error, campaign name must be between 3 and 64 characters, only A to Z numbers, and you can use bottom scores like this. So in this case here, your campaign name. If you want to call it golfing tips, you can put golfing, bottom score, tips. Or you can put it one word, golfing tips. But don't put a space because it's going to come back as an error like I did here on purpose. Okay, then you create your create new campaign. And what happens is it says your campaign was successfully created. Wasn't that easy? Okay, you just put it in and boom, it's done. Wow. So what would you like to do now? Once your campaign's created, go back to the bar at the top of the page, go back to the, to the main page and click on web forms. And we're going to go down and create a new web form, okay? So once you go back to the main page, to the dashboard, you click on the button that says web form, scroll down, create new web form, and you're going to come up with a page that looks just like this here. Okay, remember these words I put in, so don't look for those words, just look for this page here. At the top, as you see here, these are all different choices of web forms. They're going to have a few others. Web forms meaning the capture form. This is where people put in their name and their email address, okay? So you have a choice of whatever you want. I like to use the plain ones, keep it simple, when you start, just to make sure everything's working fine. So over here, we have, this is the default form. This plain one, basically it has little dots over it, but when it's plain, the background will be basically white, okay? The first one, default, the background is gray. Most of the time I use either the gray one or I use this blue one, depending on, the color of your page, the background. I mean, if you have a green page, use the green one. If you have a gray page, and a lot of these will give you the choice of changing colors if you like. So let's say this one here, I clicked on the blue one, so you click on that, and boom, it comes up over here. Now, when you get it here, again, initially it just had this little thing, but you can edit. It'll have a white blank space here, but you click on here where it says, just to the left, where it says edit. Let me see, let me get that again. Okay, over here, your name site, that's something I entered in. That's usually blank. Go over here where it says edit header, click on that, and you can type in whatever you want here. Keep it simple. 1 or 2 words, that's just to let people know that, this is where you need to do it. And underneath here, if you want to edit the footer, you can edit the footer. So you can see, you can resize it. So there's a lot of different things you could do. Now the default on this is name and email, because that's the minimum of what you need to create a campaign. You need to have people's name and email. Now over here on the right, you can enter any of these. So if you want to enter one of these, let's say address, click on that, and it's going to show up right underneath the email. City underneath the email. So it's going to keep on going that way. So if you make a mistake, just go ahead and backspace and do it over. You can delete it. If you mess it all up, just start over, okay? So you have a lot of different things you can put on here, and it gives you a few more choices. Most of them I put name and email. Some of them I'll put name, email. I'll put city, state, country, because I want to know where they're from. For those of you that have downloaded my hypnosis manual, which is probably where I get the most leads from, with that I have who referred by, because I want to find out where the referrals are coming from. So they see it has referred right here. It's actually referred by, but it's not on the screen. So that'll show who referred them, and it's pretty cool to see who referred or where people are getting your name from, who referred them, or what referred them, or what article, or what book, or magazine, or advertising. And I like to find out what country things are coming from. I'm finding out that I'd say almost 50% of a lot of my customers are coming from overseas, which I was surprised to see that rather than from here in the U.S. So this will help you to keep track of what's going on. So once you get everything you need here, you just click on there on where it says next step. And let's see, let me get out of here. Where's the buttons? There it goes. So from next step, you're going to go, oops, did I get the right one? Oh, okay. So next step, step number 2. Okay, step number 2 is your settings. And the settings, you can do whichever you like. If you want it to just to be the default thank you page, GetResponse does have a default thank you page that says thank you, and there's something waiting for you in your email, this kind of thing. If you want to have your own thank you page, that's what I do, is I create my own thank you page. You can put your picture on it, picture of the product, whatever. Wherever your thank you page is, take that URL and enter it right here, http // whatever your URL is. So, and click it, make sure you click it. And this way, once they get to the process of putting in their name and email address and they click enter, it's going to go to your thank you page. Okay, so those are kind of the two choices. Then you would click on next step again. And you're going to get to the third part, which is just like the PayPal button, you copy the HTML code. Now, if you're depending on how advanced you are with HTML, or if you're having somebody else do it, you can use either the HTML code, which is very long. Okay, in this you see 4 lines, but it's probably, I don't know, like 50 lines or so. But you copy the whole thing from beginning to end and enter that where you want to have your form, where you want to have that box. Or if you want just a short bit of code, only a couple lines, you can do the JavaScript code. Just click on that side and it'll give you a different code. It's the same box, it's just a different way of doing it. I prefer using the HTML code because, again, I do a lot with HTML, I understand it, and it's a lot easier to change the box. Once I get it up on my web page, if I don't like the color of the box, I could change it. If I don't want to have things on the box that are there that I don't like, such as that, you know, if you don't want to have, let's say, the logo, the GetResponse logo, if you don't want to have that little lock thing on there, or, you know, your email is safe with us, you know, you cannot change that, eliminate it, or whatever. With the HTML code, with the JavaScript, it's hard to change anything. Okay, just so you know, if you're, you know, deciding to work with that. At the top, are you going to install this? Install your own. I will install my web form. Are you going to get a web designer to do it, or are you going to have GetResponse? So in most cases, you'll be installing it yourself if you're building your own web page. Okay, and don't worry if you forget to do this. Half the times I don't even click on it. As you can see in this demonstration, again, I did not click on it, and it still works anyway. So copy that, put it in your web page, and you're all set to go. Now, I would test it. Again, we're going to talk about testing later, but go ahead and click on it. You're going to enter your name and your email, and as soon as you hit click, you click on there, you should get forwarded to, whatever page you told it to forward it to, whether it's the standard one or your page that you put. That's going to basically send you to your email, and it's going to, once you get the whole process done, it's going to give you the first automated autoresponder letter. Also, you should get something in your main email that you have set up, okay? So you should get something saying that so-and-so, if you did it yourself, it'll have your name, okay? So you might want to use a fictitious name so it's not so confusing. It'll say so-and-so signed up for your campaign, and here's their email, here's their location, and you're going to, every time somebody signs up, you're going to be getting a letter letting you know that, if that's what you chose when you filled in your, in your parameters. So from there, we're going to talk about, you're going to go back to the dashboard, click on Create Autoresponders. Okay, later on, you're going to be able to create, using the same area, you can see over here it says Create Autoresponders, where you'll be able to come back here at the same place just to create newsletters if you like to. Some people like to send a monthly newsletter, or just a monthly letter, or a weekly letter, however you want to do it, to all your people, in addition to your automated letters if you like. Now with the automated letters, what most people do is they usually send out, I'd say anywhere from 8 to 10 automated letters. This is the people who haven't bought yet. They're just the ones that got your free materials. So you're going to tell them what to do, and maybe then tomorrow you'll get another letter talking a little more about your product. And it keeps on sending you automated letters according to the, the time period that you want, whether it's every day, every other day, basically until you run out of this automated. If you have 7 letters, you run out of that, and then you can put them on an email list or you can continue sending newsletters. There won't be any more automated ones. So that's one thing you can do. And what the other thing that happens is they stay on the automated system until they buy. And when they buy, they're going to be clicking onto another autoresponder, which will put them on a whole different list. So this one will stop and the other list will start. We'll talk more about that in a minute. So we get in here, go back to the dashboard. You click on dashboard to get here. Then you came to messages, and we're going to do create autoresponder. And it's going to take you here. Create autoresponder, pretty self-explanatory. I like the big buttons. I make it easy to see. So what you're going to do here is you're going to tell it what day this is going to be. So for the first autoresponder, which is a letter that they're going to get immediately upon hitting enter, you know, when they punch in, you know, when they type in their name and their email address and hit enter, okay, and they get sent to their email to go to their email and see the letter, that's the first autoresponder. Now, since you want it to be delivered right away, you're going to put this on day 0. It's a calendar. You can go from day 0 to as high as you want. So put it on day 0. 0 means you receive it now. 1 means 1 full day will go by. So if you put 1, it would be tomorrow, just so you know how that works. Down here, you put whatever your campaign name is when you built the campaign, so that way these letters will be attached to that campaign. Because you can have as many campaigns you want with GetResponse going on at the same time, and it doesn't cost any more. So you could be doing 10 products, 15 products. You can be, you know, advertising other things. It's kind of neat how versatile this program is. So when you click on 0, this thing immediately says, you know, it automatically turns to immediately, so you know, so it knows when to send that out. So once you've done that, let me show you I think that's the top of the form. This is the bottom of the form. I didn't have it, you know, there wasn't enough room to put it all in one slide. So the bottom half of that same form, this is what it says down here. It says you put down the date, you know, to do immediately. Then you come down here and you're going to click on Create New Email. Okay. When you click Create New Email, you're going to go here. Isn't that neat? Now your subject will be the tagline. Okay, people will see in their email. So where it says subject down here, when they go to their emails and it says, you know, hi, how you doing? John, I want to show you this, you know, this or that, or welcome to my project. That's what you put right there. This is what they're going to see when they look at the general listing of emails they get. Let's see, message name, that's basically for you. Okay, you know it's a welcome letter. Let's see, from online income partners I put over here. Now, if you clicked on this button over here, you would see to be all the choices that you put in. You can put in as many choices as you want. I think it's good to put the name of your product or the name of your company or the name that customers will recognize you from. If you put, you know, John Adams and they don't know who you are, that's what's going to come in the from, okay? And they're going to say, who's John Adams? And they might delete you as spoof, okay? So in my case, I would put online income partners instead of my name because people know what that is, and you can use the same email, or you could even put your membership site with online income or whatever you're going to use, but make it something that they'll recognize when they see it because you don't want them deleting this and they're not sure what it is. After you did that, you would click next step, and you can come back and change this stuff as many times as you like later on. Now, choices, choices, choices. As you can see, whatever you like to do, there are many choices of different kinds of letters you can use. And I'm talking about each one of these categories has a ton of these, and it goes all the way down, okay? So from publishing to real estate. Matter of fact, you might even want to look through some of these if you haven't built your website to give you some ideas. Some of these pictures might be neat. Some of the ideas might be neat for a website as well. You might want to make it similar to this if you're using this, so that way your pre-designed templates can match your website, which would be kind of cool. Or you could just use one. You could change any of the pictures, and you can make it match your website if you like. Personally, I use a blank template. I don't like to use any of these just because I send out so many letters. I don't have the time to change all those things, the pictures and the boxes and all that. So what I do with that is I go all the way down the bottom to start from scratch. And down this list here, instead of choosing one of those, and down the bottom, when you click start from scratch, you're going to get this plain text, HTML code editor, or order template. I always do HTML code editor. Now, what does that do? It actually gives me the choice. I'm going to have the choice of making my letter in both HTML or plain text. Now, plain text, it's about as plain as it gets. You don't put pictures. You don't put nothing. It's just text. You can't even put a URL that's clickable. You have to put the URL, and it's not clickable, okay? However, every computer takes plain text, even though it doesn't look good. So the reason I do both is some computer systems, maybe older ones, or I don't know what systems are out there, but some of them will not see the HTML code, the nice letters. So by making it both ways, I know everybody's going to be able to see my letters. So that's why I do both. All right. Now, when you click on that, don't, as it says up there, don't freak out. You're going to see this big black screen without the words, don't freak out. Okay. So this basically is your HTML editor code. If you would just start typing, you would see your code. It would actually, as you started typing, you would see HTML code in white lettering on here. Now, HTML code is hard to read for most people. So what I want you to do, so you can just type in a regular letter in English, you're going to go down here and click on what I have highlighted, and it says show WYSIWYG. Just click on that. Don't worry about what it means. And what you're going to get is this. Ooh, doesn't that look better, huh?